You know it, the Middle East never sleeps. It's absolutely crazy there because it got confirmed that an Iranian flag cargo ship named Tuska, extremely long and extremely heavy, almost as much as an aircraft carrier, tried to get past the naval blockade of the United States. However, it did not go well for them because, after warning the cargo ship, which was Iran flagged, it did not listen to the United States. So the United States Army stopped them by blowing a hole in the engineer room. Also, the United States Marines have custody of the vessel and are currently seeing what's on board. We also obtained new footage from the fighting in Lebanon, where the terrorists were hiding in the stronghold Bint Jebel in southern Lebanon. And as you can see in the video, the destruction is absolutely massive. It reminds me on the situation in Gaza. So you can imagine how difficult it was for the terrorists to survive that. Or in other words, most of them didn't survive. We got confirmed that, according to Reuters, the army chief spoke with Trump and informed him that the strait that is blocked by the United States poses an obstacle to the talks. At the same time, the Iranian foreign minister spokesman stated that indicators confirm lack of seriousness from the United States to proceed along the diplomatic path. But as we all know, they say this because actually they themselves announced that there will be no more talks with the United States. So they're trying to blame the US for their lack of seriousness. We've also confirmed that the Pakistani Prime Minister had a phone call with the Iranian president discussing the current regional situation, while Israel is continuing with their drone flight over Beirut and the southern suburbs, while the terrorists in Gaza released a list. And if you click on this list, we see a bunch of names, and if you look closely, all these names are high-ranking officials, like this one, the deputy commander of 2 battalions of the Gaza Brigade, then a commander in the Central Communication Unit, and so on. And all of these were killed in the recent war in Gaza. The Israeli army also have struck a terrorist missile launch platform in Clave in southern Lebanon, while the IDF also have revealed the so-called Yellow Line in southern Lebanon. And according to the map published by the IDF spokesperson, this yellow line is the new buffer zone, and if we click on this map, we can see that this is the Litani River, and the Israeli control goes even over that line. Also, I want to mention that even though all this area was marked, not at every spot are Israeli soldiers positioned. So as example, it might be that over here, soldiers are positioned, while this part will be only observed through drones, and everyone who crosses that line will get eliminated. We got also confirmed that Gaza militants launch operation to disarm Hamas because, as we all know, Hamas refused to disarm, and I will get to the topic very soon in detail. Now, some other militias groups have decided that they will do it no matter if Hamas is willing to do so or not. And here we go to the detailed report. Hamas even accepted a partial disarmament like they did before. However, they said that no tunnels will be disarmed and only light weapons, including automatic rifles used by the terrorists in Gaza, can be given up. However, the terrorist organization Hamas further stated that there is at the Al-Qassam brigade will be excluded from this disarmament. And if I'm not mistaken, this brigade is one of the largest, if not the largest, in Hamas. So basically saying a handful of people are ready to give up their weapons. However, the vast majority of us will just keep it. And so the tunnels will be not touched. However, I want also to point out something else. Just imagine that even though it seems small that Hamas is accepting only rifles and so on by its terrorist police, it's quite a big deal because it's a political defeat even to say that. So you can imagine how desperate they are to get even something and to survive in Gaza. However, President Trump and Netanyahu made it clear there is the easy way or there is the hard way. The hard way will mean that Israel will go in and do the job itself, and I believe Hamas absolutely does not want that. So I assume that we will see very, very soon a renewal of the war in Gaza because of the terrorist organization. We got confirmed that a newly revealed structure showcases how the IRGC coordinates operations against Israel. So you see the picture down here, and at the top is the commander of the IRGC, then the head of the Air Force, and then a senior commander where it is estimated that he was responsible for launching about 4,000 drones and so on. So these are the top 3, and under these top 3, the structure continues with 4 main topics. First one is the direct launch from Iran and Iraq, then launches from the base in Azerbaijan in Iraq. Then the goal is to expand the activity across multiple fronts, and then an overview and a broad responsibility for ongoing attacks and the operations. We got also confirmed that the United States Marines have actually seized the cargo ship Tuska, and the footage that you're viewing here is exactly this moment. Then there was a very interesting question to the President Vladimir Putin. He was asked why he's not assisting Iran in the conflict with Israel. He replied, Israel today is almost a Russian-speaking country. 2 million people from the Soviet Union and Russia live there. We take that into account. However, we must still remember that he's only saying that because Iran is basically getting crushed, and he doesn't want the diplomatic ties, which, even though they are low, he still have with Israel. Also, he just needed an excuse. You can imagine, the President Putin doesn't want to go into a conflict while he's still himself fighting a war in Ukraine. According to the military point of view, that would be a big mistake. So, he got a good excuse also for Iranians, so they will not be that mad at him. I think the Iranians will not be very happy about his answer. However, we will see how they will react. But also informed that explosives and Molotov cocktails at the Israeli community have been captured, and they were hidden in a weapons cache uncovered inside a school. It was stated that forces located and dismantled this explosive stockpile. However, no damage was caused to the facility. Also, Iran, better said the IRGC, just released a list of more members that got killed in a war that were also high-ranking. And as you can assume, we will see many more lists like these in the upcoming time. Trump also made a statement saying that, according to Iranian state TV, Iran does not currently plan to participate in further talks with Washington. The President Trump stated to Fox that if Iran does not sign this deal, the whole country is getting blown up. Last chance for Iranians. We got also confirmed that Syrian authorities have dismantled a cell linked to the terrorist organization in Lebanon that planned to launch rockets at Israel from Syrian territory. It was also further stated that the 2 suspects were arrested and several rockets seized. Also, the Mossad have revealed that weeks ago, a terrorist network operating in Azerbaijan was stopped before carrying out major attacks. According to the report, the Azerbaijani authorities arrested members of the cell with explosive drones and shot down charges already in their position. The operatives had conducted surveillance, photography, and target mapping in preparation for the attacks. We got also informed that our oil refinery got hit in Russia, and the reason why I'm mentioning it is because the President Trump stated that the exemption that Russian oil should not be bought anymore after the exemption is over was actually lifted and it was allowed again. If you can remember, Trump said we will not allow that Iranian and Russian oil get bought again after the permission runs out. However, he extended this permission to Russia. Also, this might be also the reason why Russia spoke so well about Israel, because while the Iranian regime is currently collapsing, the prices for Russia's oil actually skyrocketed and they're making big profit now. In other words, the President Putin hopes that the war will continue very long. With also confirmed that the IDF is continuing large-scale demolitions in southern Lebanon, where it was stated that these structures got systematically destroyed in order to clear a buffer zone, citing terrorist use of civilian infrastructure. Lastly, we got confirmed that Iran-linked arms trafficking was discovered in LA, so Los Angeles. The Shamim Mafi, she is a young woman of 44 years of age, allegedly was brokering Iranian-made drones, bombs, and ammunition to Sudan in violation of the United States sanctions law. She's facing up to 20 years in prison if convicted.